Hi, I'm Dr Sreyashi Sen. I'm an anesthetic registrar at the Yorkshire and Humber Deanery. I'm going to try and help you navigate the LLP through this presentation. The lifelong learning platform, commonly termed as the LLP, has replaced the old e-portfolio in August 2018. I believe all of you have already migrated to the new system. It has quite a user-friendly interface that can be used equally well on a computer or a mobile device. There isn't a provision for a dedicated mobile app. However, the mobile interface opened from the web page has been customized to fit onto the mobile screen and resemble an app. In order to register to the LLP, which I believe most of you already have, all you need to do is write an email to this email address with your college reference number and School of Anesthesia. Once you get access to your LLP, you can log in with your registered email address and password. The home page is called the dashboard and essentially provides a comprehensive view of your whole portfolio. It contains tabs for the logbook entries, evidence, and development. On the right-hand side, you will find a progress donut, which is color-coded. Based on the progression through the curriculum, it will gradually turn green as you get your module signed off. There is a tab for placements towards the bottom of the dashboard where you can add or edit placements. As you move from one stage of training to another, you can edit your placement here, which will automatically change your progress donut. For instance, once you have your ILTC, you could change the placement to higher, which would then change the progress donut into higher training and reflect the higher training curriculum modules. On the upper right-hand corner of the dashboard, you will find your name, clicking on which will take you to your profile. It allows you to edit or fill certain details like email, exam pass dates, and position. For instance, you may have moved to a training position from an SAS post. If you are ST5 or above, you can change your role to assessor from learner, which will allow you to sign off assessments for junior colleagues. However, you will need to contact the LLP team who will make these changes for you. I would recommend uploading an updated CV on the profile as it gets linked to your ESSR at the time of ARCP. You can see who else has access to your e-portfolio on the profile page. There is also an option for downloading the portfolio, apparently based on how extensive it is, and you're likely to get a notification on the dashboard when you have one ready to generate. So what does the LLP involve? Now let us have a look as to what you can do with the LLP. I have realized the more you play around with it, the better it gets. You have tabs to enter data into your logbook, any new evidence that can be inserted under the workplace-based assessments or personal activity or reflections. There is a miscellaneous list that falls under development that contains a record of PDP, MSF, ESSR, ARCP outcome and milestones and certificates and a document store. I will briefly go over them to let you have an idea as to how to get the most out of it without much fuss. So let us start with the logbook. There are separate logbook features for anesthetics, ICM, pain, and a separate place for logging sessions and standalone procedures. The anesthetic logbook is extremely comprehensive, giving you a wide choice while logging your entries. It allows you to choose if it is a day case procedure or an emergency or a scheduled surgery, the mode of anesthetic used ranging from standard GA with an ET tube to monitored care only. There are options for regional anesthesia, which includes neuraxial and peripheral blocks, as well as levels of supervision. Sometimes you might find the exact surgery not available in the drop-down list. In that case, you could choose others or just fill out the details under notes after having chosen the one which is closest match. There is a provision to add a secondary specialty, which I have found quite useful. For instance, if you are doing a tonsillectomy in a child, you could actually log it under pediatric and ENT, thus getting the numbers for your pediatric and airway modules at the same time. You will figure it out as you go along. The logbook entry for ICM is a little different to anesthetics. It allows you to tick several boxes at once. I would suggest filling in the ICU logbook alongside the standalone procedures. For instance, if you have been asked to review patient A in the ward, post-review you have decided to admit him and help transfer him with outreach to the unit, and then you discuss the prognosis with the family, and maybe later he might need transferring out to a higher center. You could potentially tick the boxes under ward review, intra-hospital transfer, admission, discussion with relatives, and inter-hospital transfer for this one single patient. If you happen to do these at a later date, I would log them as a separate case because it can be a bit difficult to get to the exact case on the logbook afterwards. After you have admitted patient A, you are likely to have either tubed him or put lines in or supervised someone else doing it. Hence, you can log that under standalone procedures. This also comes in handy when you attend a cardiac arrest call or a trauma call. In regards to the acute and chronic pain logbook, it allows you to enter details of the acute pain rounds and the sessions in the pain clinics or the day surgery unit performing interventional pain procedures. You could also use it to add out-of-hour acute pain reviews like troubleshooting a post-op epidural or a labor epidural, and can log it under regional block top-up and add the relevant notes. The sessions log is the place where you add your perioperative medicine clinic attendance and preoperative evaluations. As for the latter, sometimes you might be requested to do a preoperative evaluation for a colleague. I would log it here as it would help you get your numbers when it comes to meeting the requirements for the mandatory perioperative medicine module. Adding the theatre sessions also helps to keep a record to make sure that you have got the minimum numbers needed for a module to be signed off. The only thing I couldn't find is a place where you can log the CPEX clinics that you will need to attend. However, the general consensus is to add them under notes in a preoperative evaluation or a perioperative clinic log. There is a provision to download the logbook as an Excel sheet. You could then filter out the cases you need and send a copy to your module lead at the time of signing the cut form, which obviously provides a ready reference at hand. We will quickly go through generating a workplace-based assessment, which is relatively straightforward. You will need to select the appropriate workplace-based assessment under the WPBA tab, which falls under New Entry on the dashboard. That opens up a page which will ask you to fill in the name of the assessor and choose the relevant competencies. At this stage, you can add multiple competencies from one or more modules as appropriate for one assessment, then fill the details in and send it for approval. Coming to personal activity, this is where literally every other piece of evidence goes in. It could be a supervisory meeting, teaching, audit, projects, presentation, publication, leadership, logbook extract, Form R, consultant feedbacks, to name a few. You can upload evidence if you have, which can automatically get stored in the document store. You can add a reflection and link to competencies, which is particularly useful to add evidence under Annex G, which is mandatory requirement for your ARCP. It's a good idea to add the regular teachings you attend and the mandatory trust audit and M&M meetings as you go along. Reflections are a prerequisite for your ARCP and should include one non-clinical and two clinical reflections. You can add them separately under Reflections tab and link them to any relevant competency, which automatically will then show up on that particular module of the curriculum, or alternatively, add a reflection to a personal activity, which is more suitable for a non-clinical reflection. Coming to the personal development plan. This is something you can generate at the first meeting you have with your supervisor. It would obviously start off with something fairly straightforward, like getting the exams, and then add on to it as you progress through the year. You need to create a goal first and then make sure you set it when you either book the course or start a project. Then remember to close it or complete it once you have achieved the objective. When you generate the ESSR at the time of the ARCP, this provides a quick look as to what you had planned to achieve during the year and how far you have progressed. You can create an MSF and generate the ESSR from the respective tabs. The MSF will send out reminders to your assessors every 2 weeks, and you will need to close it down once you have acquired the expected number of feedbacks. In regards to the ESSR, the system will collate the data from the ePortfolio from the period you have set on the ESSR, which means it will exclude the evidence which falls outside these dates. Hence, if you have a module yet to be signed off, it will not show up on your ESSR if it was generated and approved before the sign off. If you need to make corrections to the ESSR, remember to save any free text as a Word document before returning it to draft. Finally, coming to a close, the last thing to upload on the portfolio are certificates for exams. You do not need to upload any paper forms of your IAC or ILTC anymore, as they will be electronically generated by the system. If you click on the tabs under Milestone, it will send it out to your college tutor and regional advisor for approval. I hope that would be useful to get you going. There are quite a few useful videos by the RCOA which will help you navigate through the system. The LLP team at the college are very helpful at resolving any issues and can remotely troubleshoot most of them. And finally, what I have come to realize is that it is best to just do it as you go along rather than leaving it for the end.